Well, ain't this a sight?
Here we are once again, ladies and gentlemen.
Good God, what a day. What a day it has been.
It's raining.
What a week, or actually, what a week it has been. Because the last time we did this, we had a hell of a time trying to get all of our stuff working again. Prometheus and all that. And I finally got everything going. Oh, hey, there it is. It had to happen.
It was me this time.
It had to happen.
It has happened in a minute.
Yeah, it has.
Oh, shit.
There it is. Red Lizard, Star Rod 61, and Ginger. Ginger, how are you, my friend? Ginger's always first to our videos. Almost always. And Ryan Simpson. What up, Ryan? How you doing? So, what the heck? I know what the heck, Richard. We are live here at Primordial Studios with our 13th officially. This is like actually the maybe 14th or 15th time we've gone live on this stage, but the last two episodes weren't really a thing.
I'm going to predict that we're going to have such bad luck that our lights are going to turn into laser beams and kill us all.
Oh, baby.
That is going to happen.
Echo, really? God dang it. Okay, hold on.
Echo. Oh, thank you for the constructive criticism.
Let's get all the dumb shit out of the way right at the beginning. Don't let us fucking run through
Thank you. Thank you.
We appreciate that.
It was the microphone on this camera that was sticking
We keep
doing that.
Yep.
Just unplug the mother.
Yeah. Well, it's got a built-in one too, so it won't help.
Yeah. No. Well.
Does that mean it's been echoing the whole time?
Well, just for the 3 minutes we've been going.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I'm talking about.
No, I checked I checked the audio beforehand on that. No, I've restarted it since then.
Okay.
So I guarantee you it's been like that. So, well, everyone, we are at Primordic and we are officially doing our 13th episode, and we have the chat over here, so we can actually see what y'all are saying.
Star Rod said it looks like a militia base.
I
like that. It's kind of cool.
Kind of. I mean, that armor back there is bombing.
It feels
I'm
like
loving that.
Titanfall
I'm loving
or
that
something.
shit back there. So I'm going to actually do something that I have not done on one of these before. I am going to have myself a thing of CBD. This is perfectly legal. Joe Rogan does this all the time on his podcast. And just so you know, I always advocate for safe use of this material, and I can I can do what I want. My podcast. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Stuff's good, man. Stuff's really good.
Alrighty, so the monster says, "Sup, man? I am an artist and I try to be good at it, but people are talking crap, and I'm tired of dealing with people. Monster, I feel your pain. People are the one reason for most people's failure. But you know what? If you don't pay attention to what they think,
peer pressure.
Don't care about what they think.
Lavina's not having any of it.
So Monster, keep being an artist, keep pushing forward, and I'd actually like to see what you have. So
yeah. Well, never underestimate yourself as an artist. I mean, if there's any consolation to you doing artwork and everything, I can always recommend looking up the story of One, the pseudonym for the man who wrote One Punch Man. When he did One Punch Man, he couldn't draw, still can't draw, to be honest. And his artwork in that was terrible. If you actually go back and look at the original... Oh, pass it back?
Pass it back, yeah.
Thank you. Well, if you go back and look at One, the original One Punch Man, it was terrible. And it wasn't until much later that he actually got a hold of a good artist, and when they redid the drawings and everything, people actually started to see it as really good. And now One Punch Man is considered one of the best anime out there right now.
It's a very popular anime. I was forced to watch it by one of my friends, and first looking it out, I was like, I don't know what this is about. But after watching the first episode, I was like in tears laughing so hard. It was just so funny and comical, and I was like, I ended up watching the entire season in the first day.
Ooh, yeah.
Coffee,
I'm
there.
sure those coughs are picking up great on the mic.
Oh yeah, they sound delicious.
Fun turning away.
Sound delicious.
Sorry about that. Skip to Nate having conversations with the truck. This ain't acid, okay? This is not acid. Yeah, that's right. I had a long conversation with a pickup truck while high on acid one time. Get off me. Hey, Dell, what's up?
But yeah, going back to being an artist, you know, if you enjoy art and it's something you're passionate about and you have a story that you want to tell, no matter how you want to do it, do it. I mean, any form of art, just make it your own. If you make it your own and do it your own way, that's going to be probably it's going to be unique. You know, if you do it exactly the way everybody else does it, guess what? You're going to get the same thing everybody else has done. So, I mean, try to be unique about it and just make your stories, make your art, however you want to express yourself. You know, I mean, all your painting materials. I've seen people make art out of just, like, food supplies.
Oh, yeah.
Just food coloring. Cake makers, for example. Something I would not know how to bake a cake, let alone bake a cake and make it look good.
No. Oh, here you go, Lavina, if you wouldn't mind passing that back down to Sir Jacoby.
Oh, she's right in the middle here.
Oh, yeah. So, we actually, the Monster actually posted some of his art on our Discord. Let's go and see it.
Is that okay with you, Monster?
Well, I'm not going to show it on here. I'm instead just going to...
Okay.
Because I don't know what their comfort level is. Ah, there we go. There's some of their artwork right there.
Ooh, I like it.
Rex. Wait, what?
It's Red X from Teen Titan.
Nice.
It's very nice. I like the look of that.
And this is just
Keep
like
drawing,
a notebook
man.
paper.
Keep
Yeah, man.
drawing.
See, that right there is plenty good enough.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's all about the time that you put into it is going to be ultimately how it comes out. The more passion you put into it, the better it comes out. But you want to take a look?
Sure. Oh, fuck, your screen did.
Oh, that was Nathan's phone.
What,
You're too lazy to get your headphones on, so you may mute the stream since your sister... Nate! Sorry. So...
I'm going to ash that.
Yeah. See, I think we got an old can
Union
back
says,
here.
now Nate is high. Let's talk politics. I believe that the world is on the verge of another massive economic downturn. Considering Chinese economy is slowing down, and when they go, we all go. Yeah, that's the thing that I'm kind of concerned about, because China, not really a first world country. It's kind of in disguise. Like, they got pretty cities and stuff, but there's a lot of fucked up
when you look at
problems in China, and they're just like throwing money.
Yeah, I don't
like
think
Africa
I don't think
and,
Renegade Rambles and politics is pretty much what. I don't know. I don't think that's your target audience.
I don't.
Not really.
Yeah, I try to
But
avoid it because
I'll say this, and I'll leave the
all.
politics alone. Number one, China. If you actually look, there's a blog called China Uncensored.
Yeah, I'll watch it. No.
Oh yeah, and it's really eye opening when you see the image of China that China's putting out there. Like, oh, we're the future, we're this, we're that. But then when you see China Uncensored and the amount of people who are displaced because of China doing all this really bad stuff.
Yeah.
And
Also,
then,
I watched that in ADV China. It's kind of cool to, because I spent some time in China again to actually see like a lot more of it that I didn't get a chance to visit. And China puts on a face internationally as far as look at our pretty, big cities. We got skyscrapers and so much money and stuff. But
he also drew a Spyro. Drew a Spyro the Dragon too. That's really cool. Sorry. But
Jesus, okay.
No, I get what you're saying.
Reaper's
I
convinced
know
you're
exactly
gonna
what
die.
you're saying.
But yeah,
Reaper said,
biggest
"You're
thing
gonna
with China
fucking
is
die, man. Stop. You're
Reaper
gonna
not
die."
299.
Well, if the Reaper tells me that,
is the smoke.
Literally,
brown?
the Reaper is coming for
I thought
you.
the smoke is it supposed to be brown?
well, the smoke's blue coming off of it.
Not
And Abby
from your
just had
face.
KFC,
it's not. It's
man.
coming.
That's
it's coming out
awesome.
brown.
Well, it's because I'm ingesting.
You're gonna make
all
them
the
more
good shit.
It's these
KFC now.
warm 3200 Kelvin lights that we have.
I can
to
see
it.
the white smoke
All right,
from
look,
coming from
here-
the thing.
here's
When
white.
he blows out, it's brown.
Yep.
Look at that shit. It looks like dirt.
Well, it's not supposed to come back out white.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if you
okay.
look at cigarette smoke, same thing.
Yeah, it turns yellow.
Disgusting.
I don't know anything about it. I've smoked a couple cigars in my life, like celebratory cigars, but that's about it. I don't.
Dr.
My
Dale
vi-
says he doesn't
look, guys,
smoke anything.
Yeah, look, guys, I don't. I'm not. I don't smoke
You're not a
anything.
smoker.
I don't. I drink a little bit. I drink those Reds, but
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not
we
an
know.
alcoholic. My vice is basically just Monster energy drinks. I fucking drink those all the goddamn time.
That's what I call a daytime vice. You have a daytime vice and you have your
Yeah.
nighttime vice. Nighttime's after work is over. And
Yeah. So I'm loving this so far. I mean, just
yeah,
sitting
just
on
so
here
anybody,
doing
if
this.
anybody's not familiar with CBD, it does not get you high. It
No.
is in the same family as hemp.
Which
so,
is oils and stuff that you can also buy legally and put it in your mouth. So it's just.
as far as I know, CBD has never been illegal. There is no THC in it.
Well, there's very little to know. As long as it's under 1%,
yes,
it's technically not legally considered anything.
and even if you tried to get high off of CBD, you would fall asleep faster than you could smoke enough of them to really get high, noticeably high. Now, the benefits of CBD, however, depending on which strain you have, is more or less helps for anxiety, depression, energy, pain. Been known to cure lots of, not cure, but help in pain relief for tons and tons of different
And it's also been shown to kill cancer cells.
Yes. If they inject it and target the cancer cells with
Yes.
it. Smoking it, however, will not, or hasn't been known to.
There's different forms of ingesting it. There's the pill form, there's the oil form,
Yeah, you
there's
have edibles,
stuff like that.
smoking, and essential oils.
Yeah.
There you go, Lavina.
But
You were in
Nate,
the
what do you
middle.
think of the Crash Nitro
Why did I sit
fueled? You mean the new Crash Bandicoot? It's Crash Team Racing that they're
Did they
coming out with?
remake the Crash racing game for
They're
PS1?
going to.
Okay.
They're going to.
I haven't seen
and
that.
they're going to include a lot of the stuff that they actually had to cut out of Crash Team Racing because some of the stuff in it was just too big for the PS1 to handle.
Yeah.
Not no.
'Cause
Back in
I
those
played
days.
I rented it for PlayStation 1 and I had a really good time with it. I played it with my cousin Joseph. Me and him played on it.
You know-
Yeah.
You know, there was actually a funny thing that happened with Crash Team Racing. The game, the initials were CTR, and that was what was on the box art. Mm-hmm. And funny enough, there was a huge spike in the numbers of sales in one state. You know what that state was?
So hang on, give you a second. You said CTR, right?
Yes.
I mean, it has to be California, Colorado, or
No.
Canada.
Nope.
That's my
it's
state.
actually a state you would never think of
Connecticut.
in a million years.
Connecticut.
Nope.
No idea.
What?
I give up.
Utah.
Wow.
Utah. Why?
Because CTR, according to the Jesus Christ Church of Latter-day Saints, CTR stands for Christ the Redeemer. And thus, a bunch of parents bought the game for their kids thinking it was something to do with Christ the
What?
Redeemer, but instead it was Crash Team Racing. And, yeah, that just
So,
goes to
do
show
you know the technical term for when a website has a similar name to it, but it's like maybe like one misspelled letter off?
Oh, yeah.
But they're like spyware sites, and
Yeah,
they want
yeah,
people to.
I've had those.
misspell
I
them.
ran into a few of those.
Forgot the name of them, but there's a lot of stuff I look up that when something new comes out stops me from getting to that website just by googling it right away because it'll have the same spelling or.
Well, yeah,
you know.
I have a spam filter on mine to where any website that is potentially harmful, it stops me. It
Same
stops
here.
me and it brings it back. That way, I don't have any phishing stuff happen. Stuff like that. Did I just join a Willie Nelson recording session? I wish.
Yeah.
I
Now,
wish
that
I
would
wish-
actually be interesting.
I wish I could play one note on Trigger, his guitar. I wish I could because
Oh, you talking about the one with all the cigarette ashes and the burns and the
Yeah.
joint burns in it? Yeah.
you know that's actually like a hybrid guitar that no one else has been able to remake, right? Because
I'd say that probably. I mean, he's just played it so much that.
well, no, it's
became a creature.
actually an amalgamation of two different guitars. You
Oh,
see, the
is it?
body of it is the Gibson body, but the amplifier part, the little prism amplifier thing that it has on it, is actually from an older guitar of Willie Nelson's that
wow.
Willie had installed on it, and he it's been custom made to sound the way it does. And there's no other guitar out there in the world that'll sound like that, because that Prism style pickup that he uses, they don't make it anymore.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to recreate stuff from back then. It's a lot like why they can't recreate those synths that they had in the 80s, like the Juno, like the Jupiter and the Juno and stuff like that. And it's awesome to see stuff like that. I'd actually love to get my hands. I actually love to go to Dead Mouse's house, because he's actually got a whole wall just full of keyboards. That's
yes, synthesizers and sound engineers are just you can never have enough synthesizers. They each come with like a couple hundred pre-packaged sounds in it, but only for that model, and each and every model is different.
Yeah,
it's a lot different than just like a file you upload. If you get sorry, I had the mic a little further away from me. But if you get a synthesizer, it's going to have its sounds to it that are unique to that particular one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's why I bought the Roland SH201, because now a lot of people are buying those up because of the sounds that
and they're getting hard to find, too, now, because
Yeah.
they don't make them anymore.
Yeah, I know, and I'm glad I was able to get my hands on one, and it still works perfectly. I mean, I love that.
See, the big cheat now, though, that makes people not really care about them too much anymore is the fact that if you get a keyboard with USB or MIDI, basically MIDI USB, you don't need any more sounds. You have the internet as your sound library, which is basically unlimited.
There you go. Jacob, you want another hit of it?
Yeah, I will take one
You
more.
guys are just talking about shit that I don't understand.
So,
Sorry, Ron.
Now you know how Lavina feels.
I was taking like a little micro nap in my head. I'm like, la, 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 la.
I've been there. But Tetsuya Nomura is...
Union said when he gets on the podcast, it'll be political. Just make sure he's sitting here, I guess, on the far left. But or I guess you're on the far left. Are you on the left?
He's on the far left.
I'm on the far left on the screen, although I'm on the far right on the couch, and I'm politically in the middle.
Yep, I believe that. I don't believe in a black and white, a white and wrong, a this way or that way. I believe in a huge spectrum, and every single thing has lots of different possibilities. So,
oh yeah, I'm completely
except for math. Math is kind of ones and zeros.
I'm completely anti-identity politics, too. I'm completely just like, it's like, oh, this group over here did something wrong. It's like, oh, this one person from this one group did something wrong. Therefore, I'm going to ostracize that entire group. Yeah. It's just like, it's me.
Nonsense.
Like, look.
And the whataboutism bullshit.
Yeah, and like me, it's the same, but someone actually tried to pull that on me, and I just reversed it right back on them. It was someone saying that, oh, all Christians, are this and that and blah, 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 and bad people. And I'm just like, okay, all right. So if you're going to judge all Christians off of Fred Phelps, okay, I'll just judge you, an atheist, like Judge Joseph Stalin. Okay.
All Christians are religious.
So you're a homicidal maniac that is going to kill 20 million people. Congratulations.
All Christians are humans.
Yeah, I know. And
they're all religious.
Except for the...
Dang.
Never mind, I'm not gonna
well, the Westboro Baptist Church, they can all go.
Yes,
they can all
thank
go
you.
die.
That's what I was gonna say, but I didn't.
I think that's a universal thing.
Yeah.
Nobody out there likes the Westboro Baptist Church. Heck, even the Westboro Baptist Church hates themselves.
Jesus. How are you gonna go fucking protest at was it a soldier?
Funeral of a dead soldier.
Dead soldier that fucking died to protect your freedom.
Well, they have their freedom of speech.
I guess you have freedom of speech, but for fuck's sakes, there's got to be some kind of line.
No, there is a line there, and truth be told, it's a line of decency, and they don't have it.
I don't even call that a line. I call that, it's just, they decided to do a protest of that nature, and the world let them know the consequences after that.
Yeah.
The world, the internet will tear you apart if you do something that people don't disagree with. And majority shows, hey, guys, you guys are crooked as hell. So,
yeah.
I don't think anybody argued with that outside of that church.
Well, me, I'm always of the belief that if someone does something good, I don't care if it's, whatever side of the spectrum they land on or something like that, they're a good person. And like for instance, Elon Musk, all the good things that he's done for, not just for himself, but for humanity. Making the electric car, a more marketable reality.
Yeah, and affordable.
Making SpaceX a reality. Not having to like leave space garbage out there for future generations to deal with.
Yeah.
And also the Boring Company, making transportation a lot safer and a lot better for people.
Well, public transportation's getting ready to change pretty hardcore with Tesla, because, I mean, I think they gave 20,000 vehicles to, I can't remember what state it was.
Oh.
I mean, they pretty much gave them a, I mean, now, it's a state-ran thing, but for public transportation.
Nate, what is it again you're smoking? CBD, my friend.
I think it's
perfectly legal.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a thing where, I mean, especially once vehicles get to like that level 4, level 5 autonomy, whatever it's called. What's the point of owning it?
And there we go.
Like, I mean, is there really? I mean, I think you'll have the people that own cars, and then basically it lets them drive them to work, and then they're like, all right, car, go make me money and just fucking drive around. But at some point, so for all those other people that are just ride sharing with it, they're just not.
As far as how the future goes with that, I'm not exactly sure. We've talked about even on this podcast before the possible situations. But one thing I will say, because there's a lot of Elon Musk fans, and there's also ones that hate him for some damn reason.
Well,
it just goes to show that you could do a million wonderful things, and you fuck up one time, make one mistake, and everybody will just rip you apart for it.
There's always that instinct that I've seen in a few people where they will hate somebody else for being successful. For being more successful.
They hated him before he made any bad decisions.
One reason that there's all these people out there who say that people who have no idea what the hell they're talking about. There's like, oh, I hear working at Tesla's like working at a slave, like working as a slave.
No,
then,
that's Amazon.
Like someone put that out there, and like 10,000 people retweeted it and liked it and all this and all that. And then I think it was like 10 Tesla employees came on there, and they were just like, guys, Tesla is the greatest company I have ever worked for. It's
one of the most modern companies.
And I do not want to work for any other company. This company is the future. I'm sorry that you've been misled by all these articles by Vox and Vice Media, and all these other clickbait websites out there that are just trying to make just make money by spamming stuff to you. I'm sorry, but I never like people have no bearing on a situation unless they're actually in it. Like me, I've never been to a Tesla factory. But I have my assumptions, but I'm not going to make a broad generalization that's just going to say, oh, I hear Tesla's terrible to work at. It's like, I've never been to the factory. How the hell would I know? Yeah. Like, how the hell would any of these people know? Like if there's an employee testimony saying, I worked for Tesla for 5 years, and it was like working on a slave farm, and it's just like, did you actually work for Tesla? They might have been
getting confused with Amazon.
Maybe. Oh God, Amazon. Yeah, Jeff.
My best friend Justin, which we regularly play with on Overwatch. He's one of my best friends for about 25 years.
Yeah, you said you met him in kindergarten.
Mm-hmm. And he works for Amazon. He hates it. He just now left Amazon, but he worked with them for roughly about 5 years, and he. Of all the different jobs that he's worked and everything, he said, it just feels like a regular factory job. And he says they talk about how they don't care about their employees. Now think about it. Does any really big multi-billion-dollar corporation care about its employees on the very bottom level?
Well, not these days, because especially there's no unions or anything to keep fucking like the upper echelon of the company in check and stuff. So
they've
and at what point would you own your company if you was the owner of Amazon and you seen it work from the ground up to an online site to what it is now? How could you possibly connect and meet with how many employees? Hundreds of thousands of employees?
Hundreds of thousands at least.
Yeah, you can't meet everybody.
When you look at how busy of a person Jeff Bezos is, Jeff Bezos, I've seen like his, they actually showed his schedule for just one day, and in those 12 hours, he went across the country twice. He flew express first class to New York. Did a meeting there to try and get some stuff done with some unions there. Got it done. flew back to L.A., had a business meeting discussing
so they fly as much as most people
and then,
drive
and then
day.
flew down to Miami that night and was at a business meeting there. For him, it's pretty much all business. Like he's a born and bred businessman,
and that is why we need a Hyperloop.
Well, yeah, that's and I see how Jeff Bezos lives his life, and I can't help but just think to myself, damn, if the man is worth more money than anyone else has been in history. The man is he's the first ever person worth $100 billion. First ever. Bill Gates got close. He was up to, I think, 80 billion, but
he gives a lot of his fucking money away too.
Who? Bill Gates?
Bill Gates. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he does. And Bill Gates is actually
So I actually learned something. I don't mean to interrupt or anything, but get back on the Amazon subject. Amazon is paying people buyouts. What a buyout is for every year that you are there, you can do a buyout. Is basically they're basically paying you to resign $1,000 a year. So if you've been there for $5,000, which my friend was, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying this on there. Basically, if he voluntarily resigns, he gets $5,000. He just did this. And so now he works for another company and took $5,000. And where he lives in the state of Delaware, they have different tax.
Actually,
like
most corporations are founded in Delaware because of those tax breaks they have.
Those tax breaks are awesome. And so basically, he gets $5,000 untaxed cash to resign. And he was there for 5 years, and he's happy with it. But Amazon has more money than they know what to do with. But one thing is they can't increase the wages up so high because the company's money will move up and it will move down and move up.
Well, of course
down.
It always does.
And if you set their pay grade this high, and while you're doing this, and then when your rates go down during certain seasons and stuff like that, you cannot stay a company by giving these wages that's consistent. When you have 100,000 employees, for example, and they're all getting paid $20 an hour, you're talking about going bankrupt in 6 months if your rates go down. If your sales and your stock goes down,
well, that's why for me negotiating. For me, in terms of economics, you see most companies out there whenever they do that, whenever they have their big spike, some companies often overspend for expansion, which most companies that are like Microsoft, the biggest examples I can think of in terms of people who planned for the future. Planned for the future and won, and planned for the future and lost. You look at Microsoft and you look at Apple.
Yeah.
Microsoft, its management was pretty much from the head down, well organized, well managed, and they stayed within a certain box. They stayed within a certain. But it's like, okay, we have this operating system that works universally on every computer that we put it on.
Sometimes.
Well, no. DOS.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
With DOS, with disk operating system. Once it really skyrocketed and became popular and became universal, like it became it. And
I remember MS DOS. I remember using it quite a bit. Was not buggy.
No,
it was very smooth.
Very
Your
basic,
commands
very simple.
Went with, and it told you exactly what was wrong with it.
Yeah.
90% of the time.
And they actually purchased that from a software.
I remember playing Doom on MS-DOS.
Yeah.
That's how I remember doing it, because I remember writing the executable commands to play Doom.
Yeah.
That's about my extent of using DOS. But I remember the hardware was rough. And
that's one thing.
But the people that invested in that had struggles early on with a lot of that, because that's a lot of stuff to invest in. Will this take off? Will it not? It was a huge technological risk at the time, but hey, it paid off. By Windows 98, man, that was over.
Well, home computing, the first true home computing experience that most people had when they were young, when computers first started to come out and become available in the mainstream, was Apple, the Apple II specifically. The Apple II was pretty much everyone's universal thing. And then whenever Steve Jobs was kicked out of the company because, Steve Jobs was not, I'm going to say this, and I know there's going to be people out there that get pissed off by this. Bill Gates was not a great visionary. He was a good businessman, all right? The man couldn't design a motherboard to save his life. The man couldn't put together a computer. He could come up with a really cool ergonomic design that would look
That's
nice.
where Jobs went.
Yeah, and Jobs was a pure businessman.
Yep.
Steve Wozniak was the man who invented the Apple II board,
Yeah,
and he made it open.
Dude, he was cool.
Yeah, and he made it open source. He made it open source to where anyone could customize it and do whatever they want with it, and I like that. But Steve Jobs didn't like that. Steve Jobs wanted the board to be locked down. He wanted it to where nothing else could run on it except for their proprietary software. And that's what pissed Wozniak off, and that's why Wozniak left. And thus, you have the situation...
Actually, he had a contract with Bill Gates on the Apple II.
He did, yeah. And one thing that
he did let other people in, but only his select chosen...
Yeah, he would only let in people he thought he could get stuff from.
Yeah.
And actually, it's like Xerox. Xerox was actually the ones who came up with the mouse, the point-and-click mouse.
Yep.
They were the ones who came up with
Steve
that.
Steve Jobs stole that.
Yep, Steve Jobs stole that. IBM, and of course the big boys at IBM, the modern computing giants.
Listen, where's that documentary we just watched on them?
Oh, that was
to let them know
American
more
Genius.
information. Yeah, it's called American Genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is awesome. So, I mean, just if you want some information on Apple.
Yeah. So.
And
what was your first computer?
My first computer actually, first computer I ever experienced was actually at school. It was an Apple II that still had those massive floppy drives, those ones that were like that big. You stick them in, press down, and they would run a basic program.
Yep.
The one that we had was a basic spelling program. What we had to do was we had to type. It gave us the first two letters, and then we would see other letters pop around, and we would hit letters that would line up, and it would be like ch, air, s, ale, and then it was awesome. I loved working on that thing.
Yeah, I didn't learn to type on those computers. My papa repaired computers during the MS-DOS era and Windows 90, in 95. I think he got to 98, but he passed away when I was 12, which is right around the same time XP came out. And he left all of his old computer hardware because he repaired them out of his garage. And all that was kind of inherited to me, which made me computer tech savvy by the age of 12. So by the time I was 16, I was fixing old ladies' computers and making a few bucks.
I never got into computer building until I was in my 20s. Because I was never around computers. I mean, my family was dirt poor, man. Keep this in mind. Yeah. We lived in a trailer in the backwoods.
Well, you told me
Southwest
where you was
Virginia,
from, so
on a place called Rocky Fork, and it was. And dude, I didn't.
That just sounds BFE.
I didn't experience the internet until I was 13. I didn't experience the full internet until I was 13 because they wouldn't allow us to go on the internet at school. And then whenever I remember my mom when she sent an email the first time, it's just like you wanna send an email to Nene right now? Nene was my grandma. She had a computer. You want to send one to Nene? And I'm like, sure. And my mom sent an email, and then we got an email back 10 minutes later, and I was just like, wait, Nene sent that? It blew my mind because I was just like, oh my gosh, Nene sent this, and she's all the way away over in town. We would have driven over there just to hear her say this, but we can do this here.
Yeah. And
this is before instant messenger stuff like AIM and ICQ and stuff like that. And
she call it instant messenger. So
yeah, IMs. Yeah,
I remember
because I remembered those, and then eventually more and more stuff became available when we moved into town. When we moved into town, when I was 12, when I was I don't know, 12 or 13. And we got really good internet. We actually went from basic phone line to low grade DSL.
Yeah.
And I remember that was that
was a big step up though. From dial up.
I remember my sister showing me Napster the first time.
Oh, I remember gaming on dial up.
Oh,
I remember gaming on dial-up.
I never gamed on dial-up.
I played RuneScape on dial-up. RuneScape was too advanced for most dial-up speeds. So, remember, RuneScape, people think, oh, man, that's old. No, I remember when that came out, and I was struggling to play it. JavaScript and my slow net zero wasn't fast enough. You know, I had AOL, and then Net Zero was like $14.95 a month
for unlimited internet,
super fast, blazing speeds.
Yeah,
and it had the full throttle max speed.
I remember. It's like Net Zero 3G, and then 3G, 4G, and now
I don't
5G.
remember the 3G, 4G. I remember that in cell phones, but I think the less technical details they gave you back in the dial-up days, the more it appealed to like old grandmas that had no idea what you go from 56K, which is your standard telephone line, and the highest they could go with a boosted modem was 256K.
I remember.
So your first broadband connections were typically 256K.
Yeah, you didn't even get a meg.
Yeah, it was not even near a meg.
You didn't even get a quarter of a meg.
But 256K was fast enough to play certain games online, like Quake Online. Halo 1 didn't have online multiplayer, but we played on a system called XB Connect.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
that.
and we played online with that, but it would still lag, and
bug
everybody
as hell,
lagged online. You just got used to it. That's why I don't complain about lag too much.
No,
nowadays.
I don't complain about it either.
because we got it made now.
I remember those days. I remember
we have
like,
it
some of those.
made.
I'm still complaining.
Oh, well, of course you're complaining.
No, listen. Like every time I play Overwatch now, I don't know what is going on.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah, here we go. Get my Overwatch
So what was your
started.
first computer, Lavina?
I don't remember.
No.
It was gray.
Was it an IBM or a Gateway? I remember.
Seriously, it was gray.
Well,
That's all I remember.
I
And
remember
it was like
the
the
home
ones in the.
PCs. There was
Dang.
IBM, Gateway, Dell.
It was Dale, I think.
Okay.
I'm
So,
sorry.
Yeah.
Dell was terrible company
Yeah,
back then.
exactly.
Yeah,
But I remember
Dell
playing Sims
had
on it.
Oh yeah, like I
Sims
remember
was all
Alienware
I
before
played,
Dell.
online
I do too,
Sims.
yeah.
That was a whole different company then, dude. And then when Dell bought them out, okay. So just to settle the score on this, because there's a huge online debate about Alienware and then all these. There's tons of gaming PC companies now, but back when 1999, 2000, 2001ish. There was the company Alienware that made pristine gaming PCs.
Oh, they were awesome.
They're super expensive, but man, I'm still using the case today.
Well, no.
The case that
the
I
case
have
is
from
beautiful. I've
is
seen
just
it.
beautiful. The hardware was they were using Voodoo Extreme 8800s.
Yeah.
Is it the one you was in the center?
Yes.
Oh, blast process. I remember blast processing. I remember when they were marketing the hell out of that on Sega. The Sega Genesis. It was the whole war between Nintendo and Sega, who had the better console. Nintendo with the Super NES, and then Sega with the Genesis. And like they said, Nintendo was outperforming them in every single aspect, except for the processor would sometimes boost up to 64.
Blast process.
Yeah, and they cut up to like 64 bits. And they'd be like, "What's that?" It's like, "Oh, that's when this processor actually has a burst function." And it's like, "Wait a minute, what can we do that?" It's like, "Yeah, like can we rename it?" It's like, "How about blast processing?" Market it, do it now.
Done.
And then they put that out. It's like Sega Genesis has blast processing, something you won't find.
I
in the
remember
Super
that.
Nintendo.
And Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Yeah.
That was so freaking funny.
I remember the
I
bit
watched it off
wars.
of the
Yeah.
Oh,
nerve.
look! Someone
What was
just
it?
Star Rod
Hey,
just
yeah.
posted that.
Yeah, that was a good
Awesome.
freaking
Sega
episode,
does
man.
with Nintendo. I
I
remember
love
that.
that.
And then the
Apparently.
Super FX chip, there wasn't too many of them, and it just basically added more memory and
Some
RAM
of the
to
older
cartridge.
games I can die laughing at. Like I looked at them, I went, "What is that?"
So let's see here.
There we go.
Nathan, you can't do that. You can't answer this one because you
Okay. Okay.
Tell me if this does or does not have a Super FX chip in it. Let's test that. Now, Rome probably won't know because he didn't grow up with Nintendo.
I have no fucking idea.
All right, let's see if you know.
Oh,
She
God
might
damn
know.
it.
Jack, no.
No.
Poor Jack. It does not.
No,
All right,
it does
Nathan,
not.
final answer.
It does not.
You're correct.
There were
It
only
does
a few
not.
games that had it. Star Fox was the one that had it and used it to its full potential. It was beautiful. Like even at only 12 frames per second.
Yep, 12 frames per second. 'Cause
That's all it could render 3D graphics at back
the
then.
only reason I know that is because the emulators I use tell me the FPS on it, so you can see it's like capped out at 12. And I was
Yeah.
like, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it does.
And Mega Man X will frame drop hardcore on Armored Armadillo's level where the birds are at.
What
God.
emulator are you using?
Well, no, it's not the emulator; it's the game itself.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
okay. So, truth is, most emulators out there now, you can actually prioritize.
Well, it's made to do that. So even on the remaster, it does it too.
Oh,
It's
okay.
made to give like a slow motion.
Slow motion
experience.
look.
But
Yeah.
really, all it was is it was maxing out so hard it was frame dropping.
Okay.
So emulators have to kind of like replicate that now, which is really hard.
Yeah, but I remembered like way back in the day, man. The like right here on this table, you have for me my gaming mecca.
All right, I'm
You
putting my
have-
nostalgia goggles on because
Yeah.
I'm gonna join you.
Yeah,
this
you have my
adventure.
gaming meccas right here. You have the original Game Boy, not the color, the original Game Boy, the brick that honestly you could throw it at someone's head and kill them.
It still worked.
And then of course you have the original NES, aka the big Nintendo box.
Or the
Love that thing.
blow job because we blow in it more than we played with it.
That's true. And then of course you have the Super Nintendo, you have the N64, and then when the N64 came out, that's when the console wars amped up into overdrive.
Oh yeah, once PlayStation hit the market with the CDs, oh man, it was.
You had cartridges versus discs.
Yeah,
Discs versus cartridges.
well,
Who
it-
would win?
It just
And
kind
that's
of.
why I have absolutely no idea what any of these are.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, honestly, cartridges now are making a bit of a comeback because of SD cards. SD cards are able to hold more than physical discs now.
Well, I mean, at this point, this would literally be like a 3 terabyte hard drive.
Yeah, I know.
So you
Oh,
can
yeah.
Well,
have
it's
whatever you
because
want
it's
on it.
because of the ability to shrink processors, whereas discs relied solely on data, like the amount of data that could fit on the disc. PlayStation discs back in the day, I think, could hold 600 megabytes, whereas now you have dual layer Blu-ray discs, which can hold
Blu-ray
upwards of
doesn't
75.
spin constantly.
Yeah,
It reads it like a file, so it spins like once or twice and then stops.
Yeah,
Just like a file.
It's able to hold up to 50 gigs or 75 gigs. And then you have some games out there that are on PC that are over 100 megs, and I'm just like, or 100 gigs, and I'm just like, woo!
Like the fucking Master Chief update.
Oh
That
God, I
comes
remember
with.
that.
Dual layer Blu-ray.
Yeah, dual layer Blu-rays, and now
I don't even know what the top of the line disc is. I haven't burnt
Well,
a disc
Blu-ray-
in a long time.
It's like
Blu-ray's
4K
really it.
UHD, isn't it?
Yeah, 4K UHD Blu-rays now. I think they can hold up to a terabyte. I think.
Good Lord.
I think so. I'm not 100% on that. But I know that there are SD cards out there the size of my pinky nail that can actually hold upwards of 256 gigs.
The first time I seen 128 gigs on a micro SD card blew my mind.
Oh, I'm in the same
But that
boat
also had me questioning it. What makes it cost so much?
because of the amount of compressed silicon in there.
Okay.
It takes a lot to compress. It takes a lot to compress the silicon.
Because I always think it's like, if it's just a tiny little piece of metal, why does it cost so damn much? You know?
because the time and effort
You're-
that went
yeah.
into making it. That's at least
Well,
that's what they say.
that's where a logical comes in,
Yeah.
you know, from an uneducation on how they're made, or ignorance of how they're made, because I have no idea how they're made.
You're also basically buying the better thing, the better object, of course.
Oh, yeah. But
Would
I
you
mean,
rather have 64 gigs, or would you rather have this for like,
128.
50%
It's like,
more?
it's the same size of piece of metal. Why does it cost so much more? I get like a $20 difference, $30. No, fuck
So,
no.
yeah,
It's like
it's like
double the
buying
price.
convenience.
It's like,
Well,
why?
me. Instead, what I would do at that point is, it'd be like, okay, I'll just buy two 64 gigs.
Yep.
That's what I do.
And have-
because
But that's not
because-
convenient.
No, because the writing speed,
Mm-hmm.
that's all as a filmmaker. The writing speed on there is what you care about. Like
Yep.
95 megabits per second or 120 megabits per second. That's what I always had to look for like my Canon T4i.
It's kind of like those little red cards. They're like solid state, and they plug in, and it's faster than the conventional hard drive.
Yeah, and now that M.2s are a thing, I'm thinking that they're going to come up with M.2 drives that they can just drop 2 or 3 of them into, and then use those as an SD.
Oh,
Because M.2s are lightning fast. They are so damn
Panavision
fast.
has a camera that records in 12K resolution at 10-bit compression, which is basically like no compression.
Yeah, that's
and they don't have too many hard drives that's fast enough on the market or the consumer market like under $10,000 that can do that.
Well,
so you're talking about a hard drive in there that's $10,000.
And the camera
it's
that
not
was
even
cost
that
like
big.
100,000.
Yeah, and it's not even that big. It holds like 256 gigs.
Yeah.
And so basically in 12K, that's like
10 seconds.
10 minutes of footage.
Wow.
If that.
Wow.
So that's
That's ridiculous.
yeah. But
Like-
just to let you know, there's a huge difference between the consumer standpoint and then the commercial standpoint when it
Yeah,
comes to
like
technology.
Well,
The
commercial
Hollywood
standpoint,
companies get to play with the big toys.
Well, commercial standpoint, I mean, you look at what we have available now. I mean, in terms of filmmaking, I mean, we have the DS. I remember when the Canon T2i came out and DSLRs sort of became
Video
a
ready.
really good video rig. I remember when my buddy Simon showed me his and what it was capable of. I'm just like, are you kidding me? Dude, that's amazing. And he plugged up a mic to it and he actually recorded one of our shows back when we were Generation Undeclared, back when we played in the basement at MODOK. God, that was a long time ago. That makes me feel old now because back then I was like 21, 22, and I was rocking out. And that was back when I had actually had my hair spiked up to look extreme and all that.
Like Static
And-
X.
Like me.
Well, kind of.
No, my spike.
Yeah, don't push it up. Yeah, don't push it up. Yeah, don't push it up. But no, I never did Static X, but instead we were back. I remember it was there was the original incarnation of Porno Arcade, which Chad's still going with. I mean, he reformed it back in, I think, 2014, 2015, and is going with it again. But I was in that band with him. It was me, him, my cousin Zach, Zach Double K, and then Anthony Mullins. The band broke up because, one, our drummer got arrested for pill distribution. Two, our bassist just left one day, and we didn't know where he went. And turns out we got a phone call from him saying, "Oh, dude, no, I moved out to Oklahoma to be with this girl I met online." And I'm like, okay.
Sounds like a band.
Yeah. And then my cousin
Hey.
Zach quit. My cousin Zach quit because he wanted to start a family, and he has, and he's got 2 beautiful kids, and congratulations to him. And then there was me. I decided to, instead of doing music anymore, I just decided, hey, I'm gonna go into YouTube and stuff like that. I think it worked out for me pretty well so
Yeah,
far.
I never looked back.
So
No,
Lavinia?
I want to go play music again.
Why
I
is
love music.
why is Star Rod saying Nate the cyberpunk?
The cyberpunk? No, I wasn't a cyberpunk. I was just a punk.
No, I'm saying you guys might want to scroll up. And all
Speaking
that.
of which, I'm are you looking forward to Cyberpunk 2077?
Oh yes, and it looks like it's going to be
It does look
insane.
cool.
It's CD Projekt Red. I mean, you look at what they did with just the Witcher series, the
I
progress they
haven't
made with
played
the
Witcher,
Witcher
but
series, from Witcher 1 to Witcher 3. Witcher 3 is probably one of the most fleshed out games you could ever play because it is such an immaculate journey, and you're never bored the entire way. And the amount of graphical detail they went into, the Hairworks thing, did you hear about it?
for 2077.
No, for Witcher.
I've never played Witcher, so I don't know.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
if you want a good fantasy, like a good old school fantasy game, play the Witcher series.
But I'm into sci-fi military.
I know you're in the military.
Please be
I need to kind of.
He hasn't been broken in on,
repertoire.
I guess, Tolkien fantasy or medieval fantasy games or
Hey.
No,
the
that's
universes
fine.
and stuff.
I played the Harry Potter games when they came.
That's
out.
not medieval.
That's
Listen,
not
I
medieval
love
fantasy.
the Harry Potter games.
Now, I love Harry
Yeah.
Potter too.
No,
but
okay.
It's
You know what? You
PlayStation
know what?
1, I
One
think.
day,
We're gonna make him watch
you
The
know what?
Hobbit.
You know what we'll do? I'll bring over the 2 really good Lord of the Rings games.
Okay.
I've never played
Two
the Lord of
Towers
the
and
Rings.
Two Towers and Return of the King. You'll play. We'll go through those and we'll
Is
see
this
what
like
you
a
think.
single player game? Or?
Oh yeah, some
It's co-op.
Some will sing. The first one's
Really?
single.
I've
Two
never
Towers
played
is
it.
single player.
I'm pretty sure
Return of
they're-
the King is co-op.
Okay. So
Return of the King is co-op. I know that because I played through a bit with
I
my
thought
cousin Zach.
Fellowship of the Ring was co-op too, because
Well-
I remember the.
Well, Fellowship of the Ring
Patrol.
wasn't made by a good company.
okay.
Fellowship
I enjoyed
of the
all
Ring
of them.
was not that good.
I've actually got, I think, all 3 of them inside my room right now.
Well, if you
on my
do, that's
PlayStation
awesome.
2.
Like we can go. Like
Come out for PS2, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and what we can do is we can play those with Roan. see what he thinks of them, because they actually tell the story pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, it's graphically they're not gonna be up to your graphic junkie, so probably not up to standards nowadays. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't watched the movies or read the books or played the games, I'm just be honest, you're missing out. I mean,
Well,
I saw the movies.
yeah.
Well, okay, Shadow
Everybody
of
saw
Mordor.
the
that
movies.
counts.
Shadow of
Everyone
Mordor
saw the
is a
movies.
really good Lord of the Rings game.
That's a brutal game, man.
Nick mentioned that one. Shadow of Mordor is really good.
It's
Shadow
like
of
Witcher.
War.
It's kind of like Witcher.
It is. It is kind of like Witcher, and I would definitely recommend anyone who wants to play it. Definitely, because the first time I played that game, I was completely just engrossed in it. I didn't stop playing it until I beat it. The second one, Shadow of War, I've actually steered clear of it because of the whole microtransaction bullshit that they did. But now they've taken the microtransactions out, so I'm thinking about playing it now because honestly, my biggest complaint they got rid of. So nice. But the one reason I want to play that game too is because in that game, whenever you defeat an orc captain, you can either choose to kill them, subjugate them, pretty much make them work for you, or you can pretty much mind wipe them and knock them back a few levels.
Yeah.
And if you do that enough to them, that like the first time you do that to them, they find you again. They're like, I remember you. That won't happen again.
Oh, I've seen my friend Lucas do that.
And then all of a sudden they do it again. And the next time you run into it, it's just like, hurt me, hurt you. And then they try
There's
to
so
do it
much
again.
funny
You
shit
do
in
it
that
to
game.
them again, and they come back again. They're like,
Yeah, you just basically melt their mind in the game, and they're
It's
just
some of the funniest stuff I've ever
and
seen. I want to do that to like a really annoying orc captain who's like at the peak. He's like at the highest point an orc captain can be, and then just deliberately knock him back to nothing. And then eventually, like I see him there at the end. He's like level 0, and he's just like, and I'm just like, get him, boys. And then like I'll have the rest of my orcs kill him. I want to do that, but
I'm just reading some of the comments.
Yeah,
right
I'm just
now.
trying to keep up with.
Yeah, if you see me looking this way, I'm not looking at Roan's perfectly symmetrical face. I'm looking at the TV and reading the comments.
perfectly symmetrical face.
wow.
It's a compliment.
Yeah.
You like it?
Mine's not symmetrical. My nose is a bit fucked up. My jaw's a little off center, and my eyes do a weird thing when I do this. Watch.
You gotta do that to the
Yeah, it's
camera.
a little weird.
You know why that is? Because I had Bell's palsy on this side of my face, and I remember on my way to
Said
school.
Bell's palsy?
Huh?
It's Bell's palsy?
Yeah, Bell's palsy. It's
I'm not
where,
familiar with it.
It's where pretty much my face was like this for like a good 2 weeks.
Like
Like, I
Sylvester Stallone
Like
type.
no, Sylvester
Kind of
Stallone.
like when
Sylvester
you have a
Stallone,
stroke.
he's just like, no, that's Sylvester Stallone.
God.
Whereas Bell's palsy was pretty much this side of my face. I couldn't blink this eye. I couldn't move this side of my mouth. I couldn't hold my lips shut, so I actually had to tilt my head sideways whenever I drank something. Otherwise, it'd just go blah, blah, and just like.
Did you
drip
have to
out
like
all over.
manually
I'm
close
sorry,
your
but
eyelid?
looking at you
Huh?
and seeing
Did you have
the
to like manually close your eyelid or
I
something?
pretty much had to. Like whenever my eyes started to get irritated, I have to go like.
he's a fucking robot or something.
But sorry,
You know-
I killed Lavina.
Yeah, we can make fun of Sylvester Stallone all you want, but that's a bad dude,
No, dude,
man.
72
He is
years old,
freaking
the
awesome.
fucking
Still
bald,
bald.
jacked to the gills.
Yeah, and directing good movies. I mean, I
He
really
doesn't look bad
enjoyed
for his age
Expendables
either.
1 and 2.
Actually,
I don't
he didn't direct the second one.
Oh, he didn't? I
No.
liked 1 and 2
wrote
really
it.
good, though.
He wrote it, but he didn't. But I will say this: in his old age, he actually has done really good with the older movies that he's done.
I enjoyed
for
his
instance,
remake of
Rocky
Rambo.
Balboa.
Yeah.
Rocky Balboa, I liked a lot.
Yeah, the reboot of that.
Oh,
There's
Creed?
only one reboot,
Creed?
right? He never.
Now, Creed's a total different story, but it's in the same universe.
Rambo.
Okay.
Oh, Rambo.
That reboot type
Well,
deal.
I
whatever,
loved
the
it.
Sequel,
Well,
I mean.
no, it was a sequel.
Yeah, I mean it was a
Yeah.
sequel, but I mean,
Yeah. No, it was awesome. I
it's
loved
just
it.
so fucking far from the.
I thought it
original.
was. I thought that
Yeah.
Rambo was.
Dude, when he
awesome.
fucking
He was a
took out that
badass.
dude on the Jeep up on the mountain or whatever with the fucking
Oh, with the friggin'
and then
boat,
jumped
with
on
the
the
friggin' knife.
fucking 50 caliber and just started
Boom, boom, boom,
mowing
melting
people. Down
people,
those
Yeah,
dude. All
fucking
blood.
And actually, one
Awesome.
reason why I like that film actually better than the other. It's actually my favorite one since the first one.
Yeah,
is because
same here.
it wasn't just Rambo doing the killing. It was all the other like mercenaries who were there, the British guy, and also the rebels too. The rebels actually contributed to like the killings as well. I mean, Rambo killed a lot of the people in that, but he wasn't alone, and it showed he couldn't do it alone because he almost died in that one part when those people shot up there, and then the schoolboy, the sniper, saved him. You know, he shot those guys, and he killed them, and that was awesome.
As a director, I mean, he directed it pretty well. I mean,
oh yeah,
story wise, if you're super important to the story of Rambo, they lost control of that after the second movie. I mean, First Blood was great in the story. After
awesome.
that, it turned into just regular 80s action.
It did.
Bust,
it did. And actually, the second film, I will give props for the second one.
Well, to be fair, it wasn't made in the 80s, wasn't it?
Which one?
I'm not sure when First Blood came out.
No, the second one came out in 85, and the third one came out in 87.
Well, that's still the 80s then.
Yeah, no, I can't remember when the first
80s action movie.
Well, yeah, this was back when hero pro tag
genre of music or genre of games.
It's pretty much hero pro tag in situation. Bad things happen. Hero pro tag go in, destroy everyone. Win solution.
Yeah.
And
America, number one.
Well, yeah, although there is one, I will say, I don't watch for the plot or anything like that. I watch because of the memeability of it. Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That is a stupid movie. But good God, if it is not hilarious to mean the shit.
Dude, no, when it comes to
this, like that one shot of Arnold Schwarzenegger firing the M60 with one arm and his muscle just like bouncing and everything. That one shot, I swear to God, that's probably the manliest moment in movie history. Women watched that and got pregnant.
When I was in a band, we did this little small tour, and we were at a hotel and flipping through the channels, and Walker, Texas Ranger came on, and me and my friend Matt were just sitting there crying, laughing at how like incredibly cheesy it was. We end up watching like half of a marathon. I mean, we just couldn't stop watching it. I mean, Chuck Norris would stand in front of a car. There'd be like this big chopper helicopter, right? And this helicopter's like hovering like on the road looking at it, and then he just walks out there with his one pistol, and he holsters it, and he looks at it.
And he gives him that
and
look.
he just like gives him his look. I'm like, yeah, right.
The 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, he's getting ready to take on this Apache helicopter. Hadn't stayed for him, but just one man. And he just runs up the helicopter. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
One man, alone, betrayed by the country he loves.
That's what I think of the third Rambo, right? Where he's fucking at the end of it. He like fighting the Russians in Afghanistan or whatever. He just drives the tank into the fucking helicopter.
That's right. I remember that.
I mean, yeah.
And
fucking stupid.
Yeah.
You see this massive explosion, and somehow he's like, he just crawls out of the tank.
Out.
I'm good.
Yeah, he's like, I'm good. Hey, Commander, you all right?
We need to play Expendables one day on one of our Let's Plays.
And also, Expendables is one, and also Bro Squad.
Yeah,
Bro Squad's another one because I'd love for y'all to go in there as like the Brominator, Brobocop.
What was that fighting thing you made me try? Punch Out?
Oh, I had to play Punch Out.
Punch Out was
the
awesome.
overly muscular looking.
No, I'm talking about the ugly one. Like, it was ugly.
They're all ugly.
I mean, no, not like the oldest one that there was. Like,
she got to like the third guy, and I can't remember who it was.
I don't know, but he was
it,
hard.
The tiger.
Look, he's the one.
Was the one with the Indian guy with the jewel in his head?
No, she didn't get that far into it. It was like the third boss.
Piston.
His hippo, and she got Piston. Yeah. Honda was. Yeah, he was the third. So you got to the fourth one then.
She got to King Hippo.
Yep.
Oh, King Hippo, you know,
the guy
hard. With the...
He like, sweet, he'd go crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, that one was crazy.
I remember that. I remember, like, you aim for his belly whenever his belly's open.
No, actually, I got past that dude. This one was
you just have to back straight up whenever he does that thing. Anyways, Punch Out is
I'm trying to think of his name.
Very fun game. I put a lot of time into Punch Out.
They're like, yes, King Hippo.
Yeah, they were talking about VHS inside the chat a little moment ago. And it's about VCRs eating up VHS tapes. Yes,
God.
that is
I
a
had
constant,
that.
constant fear of my life.
I'm so glad that.
Yeah,
fucking
because
era
let me
died.
tell you,
Yeah.
my movies was
Fucking-
dear to me. I
Yeah.
would watch something over and over and over every day. Like Nightmare Before Christmas, watch that three
I do
times a
remember
day.
that, yeah. But VHS is just such a fucking
Lion
asshole.
King.
Yeah.
You could always
Lion
you could
King, God.
fucking you had to bottom line you had to rewind everything.
You know,
Oh,
I
yeah.
never owned. I've
But-
watched all the Lion Kings, but I've only owned the
Yeah,
original
basically,
Lion King.
we call it rewind and stop rewind. Rewind was just fast, like 2x4.
That's
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
that
stop
puts me in mind of
rewind was
Blockbuster,
stop,
man.
But still, like,
16 times speed going back, but your wrist eating up your tape.
yeah, and yeah,
Well,
the tape
not
was
only
fucked
that,
up.
but-
that was the
Not only that, but if the
fucking
sensor
terrible shit.
wasn't, the sensory thing wasn't good,
Your
and it
eye.
didn't detect when the end of it was, it would snap the tape off and would just keep reeling it in. I remember that.
I've had to
God.
retape a few of them, and yeah, it's not fun. VCRs
No.
are not fun. They're not easy to clean. The eyes were kind of easy, but disassemble them. But people don't realize Chinese knockoffs has been a thing since VCRs.
Yes.
They had tons of cheap Chinese VCRs that you just did not want to put your tape in.
There was an
know.
old one, VCR fail. Guy goes into this one shop. I forget where it was. He plugs up the VCR. As soon as he plugs it up, it starts spitting fire out the sides.
God.
And then he unplugs it. Fire goes down, and then just black smoke. It's like, yes, that's a Chinese knockoff right there. And then there was also one. It was a bazooka fail. I remember these old fail videos on like stupidvideos.com. This is back
Stupid
before.
videos.
Yes.
.com.
And then there was no dot, no
Yeah,
dot com.
it was just
I
stupid
know.
videos.
And what it was is it was the French military. They were no, it was the Quebec military. They were sitting there and they were getting ready to fire this missile, and then all of a sudden they fire the missile, and then the missile just pops out and just round the ground in front of them, and they all just run away, and the video ends there. It's just like ready.
Yeah, I like watching. Yeah, I like
Start running
watching
away.
people throw grenades and it bounces right beside of them, and they're like, "What?"
Isn't the
huh?
Quebec military the Canadian military?
No, well,
Or does
well,
that-
the Quebec military, every different. It's a lot like how Texas has their own military.
Do they?
Yes, they do. The Texas Guard,
Oh, is it like a militia type deal?
kind of, except it's officially recognized by the federal government as a legitimate militia instead of, say, Uncle Jed's white nationalist militia,
Why the
which
fuck are they giving a militia anti-tank weapons?
you'd be. They have to obey the national laws, although they consider themselves a proud protector of Texas first. In which, hey, according to the United States, hey, Texas is America, so I guess they're going to protect us too when the chips are down.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Honestly, dude,
So,
it's
stupidvideos.com. Watch us hit play on that.
oh god.
It's fine.
Oh, the cat fan. I remember that. I don't even have to see it.
Oh my god.
He's going around and around. I've laughed so hard at that one.
Ooh, fuck.
I
Dude.
probably watched that video at least
showed my mom
150
that one.
times
Dude,
on
I
stupid
showed my
videos.
mom that one.
I
That
laughed so
owner is fucking terrible. He's fucking just laughing, just continuing to film his cat get flung around and then thrown into a wall. What an asshole.
Honestly, I would laugh too. And
I
you
mean,
would too. You'd be
no.
like, "Oh
I would be like, what the I'd be freaking the fuck out
Oh
trying
my
to save
God.
my cat, not letting it
Don't worry,
waiting
I'll
around to
make-
watch it get a fucking
So
my
smushed
hopefully
against
it's
the
ZB
wall.
so I can make her as my pillow."
There was
afterwards."
also
You gotta
another one
stop.
too on stupid videos. It was shotgun fail. And
Oh,
it was this,
yeah, I
it was this
remember them.
woman trying to shoot a shotgun, and she's just like, "This isn't comfortable." And
She
she puts it
holding
at her
it, right?
side, and then she fires, and the gun just goes
Yeah.
gone.
It
And
goes
she's
like
just-
through into the wall too, doesn't
yeah,
it?
she's just like,
Just boom.
and
puts
she's
a
like,
hole.
ooh, like
It was an
oops.
8 gauge at that.
Yeah,
I remember,
it was,
it was an
God.
8 gauge shotgun.
That thing was
It was
nasty.
like,
I remember
now,
that.
now you talk about being fucked up. Who's gonna let an old lady, kind of little sweet old lady, shoot an 8 gauge
fucking
shotgun?
elf. That's
first?
basically an elf gun.
And then
isn't
of
it?
course there was another one too.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
It was Granny and the dog. And
Oh,
it was
yeah.
it looked like a complete misdirect because
Oh, yeah,
this
when
girl
she's
walking
walking.
up. She's walking up and she waves at the
Sweet.
camera, goes by, and there's grandma behind, like waves at the camera.
The dog
throws the
takes
stick
off.
out,
She
and the
goes,
dog
"Hi,"
takes
and
the
it
dog
says,
takes
"Boom."
off, and she gets pulled with the dog.
Yanks your ass out of the frame.
Those old viral videos are just too good, man.
Yeah, that's
They're-
before the days of YouTube.
What's
that was,
funny is they had
yeah.
that one meme where it had you in space whenever you shot off somewhere like that.
Uh,
yeah,
Like
that's more of
that,
a
and you go
modern one now.
flipping into space.
That's Shooting Stars. I remember that.
Yeah, that was great.
They've had,
Every time somebody
interesting-
goes up in the air, they're like,
I actually made one myself. I actually made one of me flying into space. It was when I was trying to make a Try Not to Laugh compilation for Ben.
Okay.
We were trying to break him. He's never laughed at a Try Not to Laugh challenge.
Oh, really?
Ever.
I'm pretty good at those too. Like, if you really don't want me to laugh, I won't laugh because there's not too much that makes me laugh unless I just
me either.
want to.
Unless it's
I'm not a
completely
comedy
stupid.
fan, so
I
I don't.
laugh at the
fucking-
I don't
stupidest
directly
shit.
sort out comedy.
Like round animals.
Oh no, that shit was awesome though. I mean, if you show me something that's funny, I'll laugh. But
What
like,
is
I
that?
can't
What's
directly
around?
go seek out
Abusing
comedy.
Have you
animals.
seen that?
Micah was pretty good at the Try Not to Laugh too, but anything with animals would always get him.
Have you
Yeah.
seen that? What if
Me
animals
too, like
are round?
Porky's.
What if
The-
animals were what?
What if animals are round animations?
Oh,
Oh, I've
Oh
seen
my
those.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, he was
I
sitting there
think
crying
Corgis are
one night.
funny. Corgis
That,
are
that was the
freaking
second
Corgis
time.
hilarious.
You should have seen the first. I was like,
I think the corgi
And
flops
pugs.
is
Cats
pretty
were
cool.
cool.
Pugs, they're like chunky.
I'm not gonna lie. I watch cat videos. There, I said it.
That's not.
That's-
That- no.
fun.
that's
all
why
right.
YouTube was invented.
That's all
It's
right.
okay. Then we found other reasons.
I'm
but
glad you
that was the
confessed
main
with us.
Okay.
It's time for your help.
I remember
Gotta
there
give
was-
them some
reason.
help.
I remember one of the first videos I watched on YouTube because I was again kind of late in the game with like everything else was it was like a little Halo 2 thing, whatever. Basically like they had like a one, you know, the hunters in Halo 2.
Mhm.
It had like the hunter dancing around and it was going cats, kitty cats.
And a meow 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 and a meow meow meow. Cats. I'm a kitty cat. And a meow meow meow. So done.
Oh god, that reminds me of the
Then it
freaking
played
meow
some like
mix
metal
thing.
music and it
Oh,
just
yeah.
showed like
Meow,
little
meow,
kids and there's
meow,
like a little
meow,
kitten
meow,
with a
meow,
sniper
meow.
rifle.
Did
Talk
remember
about
those.
blow your head off every time that
That
commercial
was the
came on.
dumbest shit.
And of course, Sarah pointed
I'm
out
coming back straight.
the old Numa Numa, obviously.
Maya he.
Maya.
Oh my god.
Maya hoo, Maya ha ha, Maya he, Maya hoo. I remember that.
Salutes.
And then there was also gosh, there was also Tron guy, the guy dressed up in a Tron outfit. It was like a middle-aged man, like with a mustache.
No.
It was hilarious. Like, and there was also the evolution of dance. That was the first like big viral video on YouTube that sort of made YouTube into the phenomenon that it was. Because pretty soon, when people realized, oh crap, I can upload a video on here too and get famous.
I could do something stupid.
Yeah, and I remembered he was the most subscribed channel on YouTube, and then Smosh started uploading videos. Smosh became like the most subscribed, and then from then on, it was pretty much a who's who. And now there's just two at the top: PewDiePie and T-Series. Which
That's
hey,
funny.
subscribe to PewDiePie.
No.
What
Is he still like all controversial or something or whatever? I know he
Dude,
like said
the whole
some.
controversy thing was blown way out of proportion.
All right.
like,
I mean I
everything
I don't follow.
Like
PewDiePie,
everything
so I
that
don't
happened
know
with him, like I actually feel sorry for the fact that he pretty much just got outright shit on over misunderstandings and misleadings by the Wall Street Journal. Like the Wall Street Journal showed him in a cap that was actually that they said was a Nazi uniform and all this and all that, and turns out it was a Russian officer's uniform. And then
Was it just a standard like a regular officer cap? Basically?
yeah, it was standard regular officer's cap, no emblem on it, no nothing.
Militaries use that all around.
Yeah, I
the
know,
world.
and then there was also the one where everyone said that he called Leslie Jones an ape, and it's like, no, he didn't. Turns out Google has this thing where you can actually type in a series of events or something on there, and it'll give you a picture that it will interpret as that. And and just as a joke, he typed in Harambe, Harambe the gorilla,
Yeah.
and you know what it was? It was a gorilla on a cross, on a crucifix, being crucified, and it had Leslie Jones's face. He saw that.
shit.
He saw that and was just like, no, and clicked off. He was like, I can't believe it gave me that.
Yeah, that's the internet for you. So
they combed through all these videos to try and find all these bad things he did. Look, here's the thing: if you really want to comb back through videos, like I told you about this the other day, like Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon preaching to us about blackface is wrong. I'm sorry, Jimmy Kimmel used to dress like to do blackface as Karl Malone on the Man Show and give people advice about how not to be not like Karl Malone. And then Jimmy Fallon actually did a skit where he did blackface as Shaft. And you're gonna sit here and you're gonna try and preach to us that blackface is wrong? Let's have a conversation. I'm sorry, but that's just bullshit.
You know, I could run up to PewDiePie right now and have no idea who the fuck he is. I've watched a couple of his videos, but I can't remember.
Yeah, Jada, she watches him.
He's Swedish or something, isn't
He's Swedish, but he lives in the UK.
Right.
And actually, let's check on the count right now. It went back up. PewDiePie was actually about to be passed up. It was down to like 20,000, and then it went back up.
It's that other, like, the competition is like that India.
Yeah, T-Series, which I've watched T-Series. It's not for me.
What is it?
Bitch, lasagna.
So Sarah says, I found out that Rick Astley actually enjoys that his songs got out as a joke. That's actually true.
It is. He loves being.
I actually saw Rick Astley live. I love his music. That particular song didn't become a joke at all until I think the birth of memes became the Rickroll thing.
Oh, the Rickroll was huge.
Yeah, if you look at listen to his music, I mean, yeah, it's kind of cheesy now because it was back in the 80s. Rick Astley, but he's an incredible
you ever
singer.
heard the song? Never gonna give you
Oh,
up,
yeah.
never
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
let you down. Never gonna
Yeah,
come
I'm familiar with all the
around
memes that
and
go on.
desert you. Never gonna tell a lie.
Never gonna say goodbye.
Hasn't every fucking insurance company run that fucking song in their ad at some point?
I guess
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
But-
If you listen to Rick Astley now, he sounds like a soulful black man. He really does. He does not sound anything like he did back in the 80s.
Well, it's because he learned his lesson.
Well, I mean, no, his voice is crazy. Like, look at the Rickroll video, you know, you look at Never Gonna Let You Down, and he looks like a 19-year-old with a 45-year-old man's voice.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just crazy.
Never
Now
gonna
it's
give
like,
up.
yeah.
Yeah. Give you up.
He had a song on there called Call My Number. And, it's the cheesiest song ever, but it was so awesome.
Well, you know who else is cheesy as hell, but yet I still love? Hall & Oates.
Hall & Oates.
Or it's like, oh, here she comes. She's a
man-eater.
Yes.
Oh, there she comes.
And then, of course, there's private eyes. They're watching you.
Yeah, I remember that one now. Yeah. Oh, you get me on some 80s retro stuff. I'll sit there.
I can't stand 80s music. Sorry.
So, I'm changing the subject.
I think the invention of the electronic keyboard is the most fucking annoying contraption ever.
Actually, it's the key to every video game you've ever played.
And that might be the case, but any music involving those electronic keyboards is like,
I used to be that way too. The synthesizer,
I love the sound of
the old
synthesizers.
synthesizers like that used to bug the shit out of me. But then I realized, yeah, those annoyed me. But yet, there's also so many great sounds. Like
a lot of
the
potential.
police, like for instance, the Police. Don't stand so close to me. The undertones that you achieve with the keyboards and that are amazing, and also the tones that you get on Meatloaf's "Bad Out of Hell." Same thing.
I mean,
there.
the Mortal Kombat theme. I mean, think about it. It just sounds so awesome. And yeah, it was very kind of.
It just has a cheesy sound.
It does, but for the people
and then,
that
of course,
live,
don't forget Van Halen's
go
"Jump," which is like the quintessential synthesizer song of the '80s, because everyone who played the synthesizer had to know how to play that song. And then, of course, there was also
song. That's one
and then,
hand.
of course, there's also the four chords of doom. The four chords of doom. Any synthesizer song that did the four chords of doom.
Jolene.
No.
What?
Somebody said requesting y'all to sing Jolene.
Jolene. I can't sing it.
Jolene, I'm begging of you, please don't take my man.
I don't know the words to it, but I know the Jolene
part.
Well,
I know it because I actually did a version with my stepsister.
I've actually recorded a cover of it before.
I've actually wanted to bring her in here for that version because I actually have a slap guitar version of it that is actually I came up with it after I heard Keith Urban, John Mayer, and Nora Jones do a cover of it, and it was awesome. Nora Jones, I love her voice, man.
Yeah,
I love her.
It's
voice.
actually, as far as vocals wise, man, that's a pretty vocal intense song.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, I can't sing that. I mean,
That's
there's
fine.
no way.
It's fine.
Now, I'm not a big fan
The
of country
YMCA
music,
song.
but I won't take anything away from talented country music artists. They're just like artists like everybody else, but not a big fan of the southern twang. I mean,
I
I guess that's because
for me, I don't like modern country. I hate modern country.
God,
modern country to me is something along the lines of just a pretty boy who thinks he can sing and writes the same lyrics like dirt road, beer. It's like dirt road, Budweiser. Ice cooler in the back of my pickup truck. Country roads.
I have a
county line. That's all it is.
I have a nickname.
Has
for,
nothing to do
Over
with
the
it
hill.
anymore. Yes.
I have a nickname
I hate it with a
for.
passion.
I have a nickname for Toby Keith, and it's Patriot Whore. Because
That I do.
he
I
fucking
will admit that
he will make money off every tragedy in the U.S., including
It's the
9/11.
American way,
Yeah.
courtesy of the red, white, and blue. Alan
You
Jackson
remember
did it too.
where you were?
That's Alan Jackson.
Oh well.
That was Alan Jackson.
Then sorry, I guess
Where
they're both
were
Patriot
you?
whores.
Yeah.
And it's just imagery of 9/11 in the background. I'm just
Yeah,
dude, come on.
Do you remember where
Money,
you were?
please.
Yeah, look, I get it. I get it. You know, if you actually donate that money to a good cause and to the families that actually suffered, but if you're using that just to sell copies of your friggin' album,
You see,
then
that's exactly how I feel about Five Finger Death Punch.
oh,
I mean, yeah, I just opened up a mean
shots
can of
fired
worms.
at a people.
And
who
I'll
want
go ahead
to-
and
Okay,
say
well,
it
let
because
me
I
tell
have
you
seen
right
Five
now,
Finger
he-
Death Punch live.
He is
Ivan
not
Moody
the
is a
nice-
fucking prick.
He is a fucking ass.
Like, holy crap. I've never seen somebody disrespect their fans and the other bands and the people that give him opportunity to play shows like I have Ivan Moody. Like, yeah, I know. I just opened that can of worms.
No, it's
and I was a
fine.
No,
big
I
fan.
used to,
Fine.
I
I
used
was
to
a fan
love
of his
that
music
song.
until I seen him live. And then
Just
he
how
That's
just
what
ridiculous.
happens if
completely
you
ruined
if
me.
you disrespect somebody. I mean,
Well,
it's kind of
that's
like,
people are fans of Axl Rose and everything, and I'm just like, Axl Rose is one of the biggest prima donnas and one of the biggest bitchers in the history
Yeah,
of music.
he's-
Because all he did, I remember the night where Metallica, where James Hetfield got almost burned to death by the pyrotechnics.
Mm-hmm.
Guns N' Roses could have came out, saved the day, and instead Axl was in the back and he was just like, nah, my voice is killing me. Takes a shot of whiskey and smokes
Yeah,
a cigarette. It's just
couldn't
like,
imagine
yeah, your voice is killing you, and it's just like, right.
Come on, get out of here. I mean, yeah. When it comes to, I can name a few of them. I'm not a big fan of Megadeth simply because of Dave Mustaine as well. But
Mustaine can be a bit of a prick.
well, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't really say he's been a prick, but I think his ego is way too large. Now he's changed a lot. Now he's more humble now.
He is.
But now he's a little bit more out there, so I'm not sure. But he's still a guitar legend. I mean, you can't take
one of the best
anything
ever.
away from their talent,
No.
but your talent doesn't mean anything if you have a poor attitude and just a disrespect for your fans or anything like
Yeah.
that. It just doesn't fly well with me.
Well,
at
that's
all.
just like a lot of people idolize John Lennon. John Lennon, he actually was. There's actually a lot of things about John Lennon that when I found out, I lost a shit ton of respect for him. Like for instance, he was a wife beater. Like he was wholeheartedly into
power trip.
freaking fly buzzing around here.
Oh, it's a fly.
Yeah, freaking asshole.
no, that's a wasp.
Is
Pretty
it
sure
really?
that was a
Oh,
wasp,
it's-
and it's winter.
That is not a wasp, but it is a bee.
No.
It's a wasp.
It's gonna.
It's down.
Oh!
I told you.
Happened right off camera.
This
What
weather,
happened? I don't
this
know what
weather has done got these bugs confused.
Yep.
Yep.
These bugs are confused.
I had two fly into my bathroom. I woke up the other morning, walked in there. One was at the brim of the sink, and the other one was at the top of my window. And I'm like, "You little bastards!"
Nathan
I
just
wonder
earned
if
a new
climate
title.
change has anything to do
Stomp.
with it. Sorry.
Nathan has a new title, The
What?
Wasp Killer.
I said, I wonder if climate change has anything to do with the wasps.
I don't know. Honestly, because here's the thing. I don't know what to believe anymore.
Spoiler
because
alert,
they
it
said
does.
They said honeybees, honeybees, they're affected by the Wi-Fi and this and that.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, they said that it's the same digital signal, but yet honeybees are still here. So
Well,
But
but
honeybees
there are
aren't
bees
using
that are
Wi-Fi.
are dying off, and that's a big problem, not
Yeah.
just for the bees, but for us too, because we depend on them to pollinate a lot of stuff. So.
Okay, I think that is opened up a topic of social media science. Because that is something. It's like that
here's
cell
one
phones
thing
cause cancer
you
type
can
thing.
always well, it
Yeah.
was like the other day I read, you actually shouldn't eat wheat bread. It's actually bad for you. And I'm like, The other day, one day people are saying, oh, yeah, this is good. Another day, another person saying, oh, yeah, this is good. And it's just
tomatoes
vaccines,
used to be considered
anti-vaccines,
poison.
blah,
Hey, don't
blah.
forget, we're all going to die one day anyways.
I know. So enjoy the trip while you're here, guys. Stop worrying so damn much. Life's
Yeah.
way too short to be pissed off all the time.
Tomatoes used to be considered poison to a lot of countries, believe it or not. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Tomatoes.
Yeah.
That's
Tomato,
true.
The
tomato.
mysterious fruit and
Yeah.
vegetable. That is
I don't do
The
tomatoes.
vegetable.
the fresh
I'm
It's
not-
not as bad as some other vegetables for me, but yeah. not bad.
God, I don't understand why people have to feel like they have to deliberately lie just to get people to click on their video. It's like, oh, this is bad for you. Oh, that's bad for you. Oh, you better not do this. And I'm like, guys, how's about this? How's about if I want to smoke, I'm gonna smoke. If I want to drink, I'm gonna drink. And if it is a bad thing for me, then I will pay for it later in life.
Yeah.
But for now,
It's your
I'm going to
decision.
enjoy myself, and if I'm not hurting anybody, what the hell's the problem? Because there is no truth out there other than honestly what we make it. I mean, the only thing that's really fully 100% true that I've found in life, because I remember back in the day, people were saying, "Oh, weed's bad for you. Weed will kill you. Weed will make you want to kill yourself, and this and that." And now everyone's saying, "Oh, weed's great. Weed's amazing, and weed's this and that." I'm like, yeah,
No, I remember the commercials with the freaking flat bodies on the couch.
yeah. It's like,
Well,
Oh, yeah.
and of course, there's also the one where the dog talks to you. She's like, I miss you back when you used to play with me, but ever since you started smoking weed,
I
you
mean,
don't do that
honestly, have
anymore."
any of you guys saw somebody smoking weed that looked like that, or
No,
even-
I've seen no,
even
but I have seen
acted-
I've seen a one where he was just like,
maybe lazy?
no, he was just like, "You hungry, man? Can you spot me? Can you spot me some Taco Bell?"
God.
Or he's just like, "Can you spot me some Asia Cafe, bro?"
Dude, I just got you food like 30 minutes ago.
And, no, and
Real, bro?
no, and I'd look at him and I'd be like,
Word.
I'd be like, "Dude, we ate 20 minutes ago." He's like,
Word.
Do we?
just sits back and his mind is all of a sudden his neurons are firing off trying to pull those memories back, and he's just like, "I'm sorry, man. I don't know what the is that Smash Bros, bro?"
I mean, to be honest, I have never smoked weed, and I'm not really necessarily
No, you don't
eager
have
to
Well-
do it. Just, I mean, people keep telling me that it opens your mind to creativity and stuff, and that might be true. And to each his own. In my opinion, it's not my business whether you
hell,
prefer drugs or not.
Stephen King on cocaine was interesting. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah.
man put out 4 books a year, and the majority of them weren't that
Bestsellers.
good. But yet at the same time, he put out some bangers in that time frame.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it, you look at Misery, you look at all the great books he came out with. Shawshank, the Body, which was adapted into Stand by Me. You look at all the works that he came up with at that time, and it's really interesting that his brain went to that.
I am naturally a very artistic, creative person, but it's that drive to actually get up and do it. That's the issue a lot of times,
Well,
It's kind of like people that want to paint and
Yeah,
like,
it's the
oh, it's really cool, but
procrastination.
God, do you really? They just don't do it,
Well,
and
it's
I think
well-
weed just makes me get up and
severe
go do it,
procrastination
you know?
is my biggest issue, and has been my biggest issue my entire life. And for me, whenever I actually decided to get up, human willpower is a hell of a thing. and it wasn't drugs or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you all didn't know me whenever I used to drink a lot, because I'm gonna be honest, I was a bit of an asshole. Because I was angry at the world and I didn't know how to express myself. And then whenever I turned like 25, all of a sudden I woke up one day and realized, God, I'm still living in my mother's basement and I have done nothing with my life. I'm going to do something now. And then I got up off my ass and did something. And here I am now, and I'm chatting with you awesome people. And there are people online who are just like, it's just like,
I'm busy
Nate.
talking with them since you guys don't let me talk on here. I've been chatting with them.
Really now?
We are. What are you talking about?
Really?
You
Every
just have
time
to.
I try to talk,
You
somebody
have to
interrupts
be
me.
assertive.
And
Oh,
then
you gotta be stern.
You gotta be
Stand
assertive.
your
I'm not-
ground.
no,
Okay,
I'm not
hey,
speaking
Lavina,
up. I'm
tell you what,
soft-spoken.
I'm going to do you a favor. Watch your screen there. Boom. Enjoy that.
What's going on?
Type now. Type and see what see what happens. Watch her name on there. Watch what happens.
Is it gonna go bring?
Watch this. And
Is that
come on,
turning
Lavina, come
gold
on.
or something?
There it is. You're a mod. Congratulations.
Oh, is that what that wrench means?
Yeah, the wrench means that they're a mod.
Oh.
Meaning that they have the power to ban people, they have the power to delete
Be
comments and
careful.
stuff like that.
I'm deleting all of you
Giving her
guys.
authority.
I'm just kidding. I'm
No.
not mean. I
So-
promise. I
That,
won't do
that'd be
that.
great. We just
I'm probably the
we'll
nicest
we'll do
one
a
out of
cut
all
to a
of you.
recording that you did, and
Yeah.
we'll just like do like a snap cut as we disappear, literally just like into smoke.
Oh my god. Do drugs. Unless they're prescribed by a regular doctor. Yeah, close that down.
The old
before-
PSAs were awesome.
Yeah, probably my favorite PSA is Pee Wee Herman. It's like, "Hi, I'm Pee Wee Herman, and this is crack." Like literally, he held up a little vial of crack, and it's like, "So many people out there are affected by this. Remember, kids, don't do drugs." And
I
then
could
just
agree
cut to
with
black,
that.
And I'm like,
Don't do crack.
"Oh, crack is terrible."
Yeah.
there's-
I'll do anything.
No, there's several drugs out there that are very, very bad for you that actually have very bad health benefits.
Man.
Like for instance,
Anything
heroin.
to do with chemicals, of course.
Oh, chemicals, yeah. I mean, chemical compounds like most
You
pills
talking
out
about
there are
natural
just,
compounds, or are you talking about
I'm
artificial?
talking
Well,
about
more natural
fucking
Pretty sure everything
rat
has
poison
chemicals.
Yeah,
shit, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you
That's
talking about
dumb.
some meth shit? You talking
Oh,
about some
like
meth
fucking
stuff.
Anything.
puffing
I don't
paint and
care.
shit.
It's gross.
Go huff a
That's
bag
disgusting.
of paint.
Go
yeah.
huff, sniff some glue.
Or air duster. I remember when people was freaking
Huffing
on
air
the side.
duster, I
Yeah, I'm
remember
like,
that.
what in the fuck are you
Like
doing?
the two guys
And
on
they're
A
over
Thousand
there,
Ways to
they
Die.
look, all they do is like, what are you doing?
Well, yeah, it's
Like the
because
guys
their
on A Thousand
fucking
Ways to
brain
Die when they
cells are
smoke poison
dying.
sumac.
They
I
said it
remember
lasted
that.
for 5
oh my
seconds. I was
god.
and then there was also
like, you just got 10 times stupider.
Stupider.
wow,
Exactly.
wow, Lavina.
Dumber.
That's what drugs does to your brain.
No,
It makes you
Listen,
stupider.
It makes
yeah. Don't do drugs. They make you more stupider. It's like that could be a new PSA right there. I can imagine it now. Like
my
one
God.
random trailer park in the middle of nowhere, and out walks this Betty Bertha looking bitch with like 2 teeth in her head and 4 babies on her in each arm. It's like, don't do drugs. They make you stupider.
Oh god. Damn.
You know
That's
what?
horrible.
And you know what? We could hire a family member of mine. Hey, come on down.
Don't do
Jesus
drugs,
Christ.
kids. It make you stupider. Stay in school. It's funner.
Listen, they're bullying me.
No, we're not.
They're bullying
No,
me.
this is
like
it's-
always.
No,
during...
Lavina, you are our muse. You just gave us something beautiful there. That was awesome. Thank you.
Listen, I did
Abby
not mean
says
for that to
LSD,
happen.
Lucy in the sky with diamonds.
Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Ba-dum, ba-dum.
Yeah, there were a lot of drug references in the
Oh,
Beatles.
oh, dude! Listening to Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, I'm just like, what were they on for this?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
What was the Yellow Submarine? What
no
was
the Yellow
answer-
Submarine? that was a pill they took.
Go ahead
And
and
there-
take your
Yeah, I bet
addicted
it
to
was.
love.
But then, it's like, I get by with a little help from my friends. I get high with a little help from my friends. But honestly, recreational drug use, I mean, here's one thing my dad told me is that, son, he told me this about drugs, and he told me this about pretty much the talk. He's like, son, I know you're gonna try things. I know you're going to. All I'm gonna say is this: don't go off the rails with it. Don't let it control you. I can't. If you ever need help or something like that, don't hesitate to ask me, ask your mom, ask any of your family members for help. We'll be there for you. We aren't going to sponsor your habit, but we will help you however you need to. And thankfully, I never got addicted to anything. I never really was like an addict. But my dad also gave me the talk. He said, son, I'm not going to tell you don't go out there and don't get involved. But if you do get a girl pregnant, you stick by her and her decisions. And if you don't, I'm going to beat your ass. He told me that straight to my face. And I'm just like, all right, Dad. Okay.
Grand moral of the story: women are like drugs. They can be great, or they can kill you.
And this is the part where Lavina decided to beat the shit out of you
Dun, dun,
live
dun.
on
Keep in
YouTube.
mind, she's got a pretty heavy vape right there. She'll toss that
No,
at you. and
don't
break your
worry. No,
nostalgia
don't
glass.
worry. They
Hey.
have plenty of weapons here.
Certain drugs are really good for you.
You talking to me,
Hey, what
her
about that
turning her head
saw
to look
scene
at
you was
you.
talking about?
Oh yeah.
With the torture rack.
She started looking
One
at
where his
you.
leg twists and his like.
No,
arm
that goes
twists.
into his bone and his heel.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
She
that
started
hurts.
looking at you, and I could just see running through her mind was what home appliance would she just fucking driving?
The
to?
hamster on the wheel
Golf
just stopped
club?
and looked at me.
Yeah,
God.
like I could see the laser beams from her eyes just like
Yeah.
guiding it right there to the side.
Where
of
can
your
I?
head.
What part of his skull can I drive a golf club through?
No, you know what?
I'm gonna be beat to
do
death.
you have a
by
blender in
angry
your
women
room?
all over the world.
No.
Okay,
I'll buy
thank God.
one.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, I don't have too many weapons.
My
but we
mom
do
has
have
plenty.
knives.
We get I get plenty. of
Because
weapons
there's
in my
one
room.
death
Obviously.
from one
One's a
movie that
fucking torture
absolutely just.
factory.
I enjoyed it because it happened to a bad guy, but it was just like I fear home appliances more now than I ever have. It was from Your Next, and one of the bad guys gets they break off like the glass part of a blender, and it's just the spinner that's left in there. It gets jammed into the top of his head, and he's like trying to like get the final girl, and she plugs it in and just like scrambles the top of his head.
So you gonna tell me a blender's gonna fit on somebody's big ass head?
No,
They broke the
no,
glass
they broke
on
the
it, so it's
glass
just
off,
the
and
little
it was
It's just
a little
it's
spinner
just spinning
thing.
thing.
Oh,
Like,
I was like,
like
how
she
in
jammed
the...
it into the top of his head, thinking it was enough to kill him, and then no, he kept trying to get her, and then she plugged it in and just,
Oh God.
grinded his head into mush. I thought it was awesome.
Like the Goonies when they tried to stick his hand inside the blender. and
Yeah, I remember that. She was
Spawn,
like,
like,
she was trying to intimidate. She's like, first we'll start with the little fingers, and then the plump hand, and like dropping tomatoes and stuff in there, trying to intimidate. And she's like, spill the beans, I want it all. And he's like, okay. I threw up. I went into the theater one time, and I threw some fake puke over the side, and I made everyone else in the theater puke. And then, like, one of them was just like, Mom, I'm starting to like this kid. And then she's like, hit puree. And then they, like, try and grind his hand. He's like, no, I want to play the violin. Stop, please. I love that movie. Oh,
We're
God.
right at
I
about
do
an
like it, man.
hour
Yeah.
and a half here.
Yeah, we're sitting at about an hour and a half. So,
We got any
Yeah.
Final thoughts.
yeah, so,
I will say, going real quick, back to the whole like the Amazon thing. I meant to mention it, but I had to. Ron had gotten lost trying to get the place, so I had to answer a phone call to help him. Anyways, I was thinking as far as like Jeff Bezos goes, because I don't know enough about the guy, so when I say this, is not really any seriousness to it. But whereas like Elon Musk is like Tony Stark, he's like our Tony Stark. I would say Jeff Bezos is maybe like our Lex Luthor.
in terms of the look, yeah.
He's got the bald thing going on,
Yeah, he's got
but
the
he's
bald
also
head.
got infinite amounts of money.
Yes.
He could have some
And
diabolical
he's
plans.
actually and he's actually a fairly like decent inventor of stuff.
Is
Fairly
he?
decent.
Nick's laughing in there.
Oh, well.
Giggling.
Giggling.
Dr. Dell's comment about the blender.
Oh.
Uh,
So I don't remember that bullet blend episode.
That's another an old internet show. Will it blend? That's the question. Ba-da-da-da-da.
Well, Venus says, I'll see you. It's food time and Overwatch time.
Yes. So
right.
We're going to end it here, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, thank you all very much for tuning in. This was episode 13. We made it through. No crashes. No bad stuff happened.
Oh, you jinxed it. You jinxed it.
Good commitment there, Ron.
We're down.
Yeah.
Lucky number 13. 13th episode. Something bad had to happen.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And until next time, signing off. That was Roan. I'm Nate.
La Diva.
And I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you in the next one. Oh, and also, Nick up there in the production booth. So thank you again, Nick.
He gives the horns.
Yeah, gave us the devil horns. So we'll see you in the next one, everybody. Peace out.
Bye.